When you notice darkness appearing in those you care about, remember that what you see as demons are often the suffering they do not know how to express. Before you try to drive them away, you must first cultivate clarity within yourself. Only by standing firmly in your own center can you bring stability to others. If you want to help someone overcome their destructive patterns, the first step is always presence. Be fully with them, without judgment or impatience. Often, the silent acceptance of another human being is more powerful than any argument or advice. Second, learn to distinguish the person from their behavior. Do not confuse who they truly are with the habits that now possess them. Just as a mirror remains unclouded behind the dust, their essence remains untainted beneath anger, fear, or resentment. See past their surface and address the deeper causes rather than fighting the symptoms. Third, remember that force rarely transforms. When you attempt to break someone's demons by attacking or shaming them, you only feed resistance. Instead, create a field of compassion so strong that the patterns cannot maintain their hold. This does not mean condoning harmful actions. It means you respond from steadiness rather than reactivity. Fourth, help them rediscover their own sense of worth and purpose. Demons thrive in emptiness and confusion. When a person reconnects with what gives meaning to their life, destructive forces begin to weaken. Sometimes this is as simple as guiding them back to a daily practice, a commitment, or a small act of service. Fifth, protect your own balance. Do not allow their turmoil to become your own. You cannot lift someone out of the water if you are drowning beside them. This requires discipline, setting boundaries with kindness and knowing when to step back. Remember that being a source of light requires tending to your own flame. When you wish to help someone free themselves from their struggles, you must begin by cultivating clarity within your own mind and heart. It is very easy to rush forward, convinced that your perspective is correct, that your solutions will save them. But if your own thoughts are clouded by fear, anger, or impatience, you will simply project this confusion onto the person you wish to help. Your presence will not soothe them, but instead create more tension. Clarity is not something you pretend to have. It is the result of ongoing, sincere practice. This means observing your own reactions as they arise. Notice when you feel the urge to judge or to rescue. Notice the stories you create about why this person suffers. In moments of stillness, you can see more deeply. You can recognize whether your desire to help is truly selfless or partly driven by your own discomfort. When your mind is calm and undisturbed, you will naturally respond with understanding rather than reactivity. Just as clear water reflects the sky without distortion, your clarity allows you to perceive another person's pain without becoming entangled in it. From this foundation, any guidance you offer will carry the quiet strength that makes transformation possible. When you look at someone caught in destructive habits, it is important to remember that their behavior is not the totality of who they are. Many times people become lost in patterns that began as a way to survive pain. Over time, these patterns grow stronger, almost like a mask covering their true face. If you only see the mask, you will forget that beneath it there is a human being longing to be free. To separate the person from their behavior, you must practice looking beyond appearances. This requires patience and a willingness to see without judgment. When you recognize that anger, jealousy, or addiction are not their essence but conditions that have arisen, you create space for understanding. Just as clouds cover the sun without destroying its light, their negative patterns cover their innate dignity without erasing it. If you can hold this perspective, your compassion will deepen. You will no longer feel the need to condemn them. Instead, you will look for ways to help them remember their own worth. Transformation begins when someone feels seen not only for their failures, but for their potential. By keeping this vision steady, you become a mirror in which they can rediscover who they truly are. When you encounter harmful patterns in someone close to you, it is natural to feel the impulse to attack the problem head-on. You may believe that strong words or forceful actions will break the hold of negativity, but you must observe carefully what happens when you react with aggression or blame. You will see that the other person almost always responds by closing their heart even more tightly. Resistance grows stronger when it is met with hostility. What dissolves the grip of destructive habits is not force, but compassion rooted in steadiness. This does not mean you approve of harmful actions. Rather, it means you learn to respond without becoming entangled in anger. You create an atmosphere where truth can be spoken without fear. In such a space, the person can begin to look honestly at themselves. Compassion is not weakness. It is the greatest strength you can bring because it transforms the environment in which the demons survive. If you remain calm and centered, your presence becomes like a quiet field where agitation slowly loses its power. Over time, this clarity helps the other person see the consequences of their actions without needing to defend themselves. In this way, understanding becomes the gateway to real change. When someone is caught in the grip of destructive patterns, it is often because they have lost their connection to purpose and meaning. In this emptiness, negative habits find fertile ground to grow. You cannot remove these patterns by criticism alone. You must help the person remember what gives their life value. This begins with gentle questions. Ask them what once inspired them, what brought them a sense of belonging or fulfillment. Often, these memories are buried under layers of disappointment and shame, but even a small reminder of past aspirations can ignite a spark of renewal. Encourage them to take one small step each day that reflects their deeper values. This could be a simple act of caring for others, a creative expression, or a return to a practice that nourishes their spirit. When a person experiences moments of genuine purpose, the power of their demons weakens. Meaning creates an inner anchor that cannot be easily shaken by fear or confusion. Over time, this sense of direction becomes a force stronger than any external influence. You will see that as their connection to purpose grows, they begin to stand up with more courage and clarity. In this way, true transformation becomes possible. When you walk beside someone who is struggling, it is essential to protect your own balance. You may feel that caring requires you to share every burden, to take on all their pain as if it were your own. But if you are consumed by their suffering, you will lose the clarity and steadiness needed to be of true help. To remain centered, you must cultivate the discipline of healthy boundaries. This means learning to say no without guilt and stepping back when your presence no longer serves growth. Boundaries are not a rejection of the person, they are a recognition of your own limits. Just as a tree must have strong roots to withstand the wind, you must remain grounded in your own practices that nourish stability and peace. Take time to replenish your energy through silence, movement, or reflection. When you care for your own well-being, you are better able to offer genuine support rather than reactive sympathy. Your steadiness becomes an example of what is possible. In this way, you remind the other person that balance is not only necessary but achievable. By holding your own center, you help create a space where healing can occur without draining your spirit. When you hope to guide someone away from their destructive patterns, you must accept that transformation unfolds in its own time. The human heart cannot be forced open by impatience or frustration. Just as a seed needs darkness and quiet before it can sprout, a person often needs long periods of stillness before change becomes visible. If you expect immediate results, you will feel disappointment and may even withdraw your support when it seems your efforts have failed. But true care does not depend on quick success. It is a commitment to walk beside someone, even when their progress is slow or uncertain. Trust is essential. Trust that the small moments of clarity you witness will eventually grow stronger. Trust that your calm presence and consistent encouragement are planting seeds, even if you cannot yet see their growth. Transformation is not a straight line, but a winding path with setbacks and new beginnings. When you release the demand for speed, you create an atmosphere where lasting change can take root. Patience is the expression of deep faith in another person's capacity to awaken. Your willingness to stay present without judgment or urgency becomes the most powerful gift you can offer. When you set out to help someone free themselves from their demons, remember that this path is not about control or conquest. It is about meeting another human being with the quiet strength that comes from understanding yourself first. Your clarity becomes the mirror in which they can see their true face again. Your compassion creates the space where defenses can soften. Your patience allows growth to unfold at its own pace. Transformation begins not with force but with presence. When you hold your own center, when you honor boundaries without closing your heart, you offer something rare and precious, a steady hand in the midst of turmoil. Trust that every small act of care, every moment of sincere listening, is part of a deeper process you cannot always see. In this way, you become both witness and companion to the gradual return of wholeness, and as you walk this path with others, you may discover that their healing is also your own.